Okay. We will kick off the September 9th meeting of the Mariners Way Redevelopment Ad Hoc Committee. And we will open it up to public comment. Currently, the public in the room, don't see any public, we have any attendees, no attendees on the screen. Just want to make sure everybody who is attending virtually can hear us. Chris, can you hear us? Give us a thumbs up. All right, we're good. Casey, can't see you or a thumb.
I can hear you. I'm just working. Sorry, I'm turning the video on.
That's all right. That's all right. I just wanted to make sure if I'm saying we have a quorum, I want to make sure we're at least hearing each other talk. So that's good. Okay, good enough. Then we will go to review and approval of the incredibly well-drafted minutes from last time.
I recall that you wrote.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much.
I'll make
so
a motion to approve the
motion
minutes
to
as
approve.
presented.
Is there a second?
A second.
Is there any modifications, changes, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect. All right, we are on to the subgroup updates. I hope others did more work than I did. Casey and I have a very short subgroup discussion, but we would open to other people being able to actually have done something over the last month. So Doug and Chris will take it to you.
Okay, I guess I'll start. So we looked into the, we talked about having a large map printed with Mylar, with overlays showing maybe lot boundaries or wetlands, etc. So we can get 36-inch height by any length printed, but the overlays seem to be an issue, clear overlays. The print shops don't seem to do clear Mylar is what I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
Mylar is the Mylar they do is very cloudy. Clear Mylar, they said it would just burn. So, in discussion with Chris, I'm looking at Chris, I guess we need to make a decision. Do we want to print this thing out on the wall, or do we just want to have like an electronic version that we can each mark up, or a master in the shared folder?
I think we want to do, and again, we checked, just so everybody knows, we checked 3 places that we thought could do this. And Seal looks like, are they the winner? I forgot about would do, again, the key thing here is it's a 36 wide, and then they can run forever. So if you look at what we're looking at as far as Mariners Way, I think if we have 3 feet, then run at the length. Hi, honey.
What?
No, the other honey. And then we'd have the ability to run it out to kind of the scale that we're dealing with right now. That to me seems to be the right thing. 1 and 2, I think that maybe this for our purposes, this base map it's a JPEG that we all can work with, Doug. So everybody can have their little pieces and work on different sections. And maybe what it ends up being is we don't get that magical Mylar overlay, but we have basically an index of the different specifics that we're looking at with respect to these maps. We have the wetlands, which we can then put up top and post it, put it in place. We have the setbacks for picking environmental. Then we can put up in place, take the other one down, put that one in place. The only difference is we can't, at the end of the day, we can't have, let's just say 15 or 16 things overlaying on top of each. But I think I think it'll still work because we'll have the true master print, and we'll have the pieces that we can then we'll overlay.
So do you think, and on that master print, as you're imagining it, are you seeing lot lines?
Yeah,
Good.
we're kind of, I think going at this, that's our basic. That is that basic fundamental master map, is it shows us the lot lines in the entire area.
Okay.
And again, if anybody can think about, again, remember, this is the base map that we're gonna add all these other things to. If anybody else can think that something should be in that base map, then we can talk about that. But to me, it's, yeah, we're gonna show the area and we're gonna show the lot lines. Obviously, we'll have the roads. And, you know, that's the basis upon which we'll proceed with the various elements of the development.
And who would be generating this map? Is this out of our friends over at the River Cog, or is this?
Yeah. And again, there is two things. I mean, you know, Doug's, you know, he continues to work them over. He's got a jab, pretty stiff jab, and he has their heads bouncing around, and then he comes in with his right hand and they give him everything. So it's perfect.
Platinum.
Yeah, Rivercog could give us, like a good PDF from the GIS files. And then we just bring it to the print shop and there is a print shop right on the road
yeah.
there, right
Yeah,
across the street.
right.
Lighthouse Printers. Yeah, who I did call Chris, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
you-
I'm out for the owner.
Go ahead, Casey.
Oh, I was just wondering, did you try talking to like an engineering firm or an architecture firm or something about printing Mylars?
Yeah, I could do that. I know an engineer in town I could ask, you know, he's in the planning meetings and the zoning meetings all the time, so, you know who they are, yeah, so I don't mind asking,
Yeah, I mean, I can ask too.
yeah. Well, it's on our task list, so I'll,
Yeah. That
Just
was
because usually they have the capacity to do that, at least like a 24. I mean, that's like the common would be 24 by 36 in that like field or whatever, but like at least, you know, that's who I've usually seen do it. So I would think they have the capacity, but I don't actually know for sure.
that's always the question, is whether their printer can get, you know, again, if this thing ends up being 36 by 72 or 36 by 144, they probably can't do it. But we can ask.
Yeah, or like sometimes what I've seen is, you know, you get a bunch of match lines, you get a bunch of like 36 by 24s that like that. I don't know.
yeah, the print shops indicated there's really no limit on the length.
Okay.
Well, if we talk to the engineering firms, it would just be, can they print on clear Mylar?
Right.
Not
Right.
cloudy Mylar. They
Right.
showed me the cloudy Mylar, you just can't see.
Yeah.
Okay.
No good use to it, okay. All right, and then I was thinking that maybe it would be good to have something that actually started at around the monkey farm. You know, thinking of where this would start relative to being able to think about when we start thinking about streetscape and we start thinking about some, you know, beginning to think from there out would be a good way to think about it.
Yeah, I would say even though it's not our whole scope, Monkey Farm to the river,
Right,
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. All right, other things that you guys are,
So
Bring it.
if we get that file, we will just print it and hand you the bill or turn it into Jennifer, okay?
The other thing is, you know, when we're actually meeting, we could always put the GIS up on the screen and then you can click any filter you want and it overlays.
Right, and I was actually going to do that later, that's why I logged in
Okay.
to explain what I wanted to get into.
Okay.
But we were thinking more like if we had something to hang up or mark up, that we could just keep marking up, it's like a work in progress. or a yellow sticky method type thing, you could say, all right, these people will do this, these people won't do that, we like this.
There's nothing like an actual physical thing to look at
Yeah.
compared to digital. They're just-
Picture's 1,000 words.
Yeah.
Right, but absolutely, we're gonna do the digital as well, so that's good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, so more that you guys wanna report on?
I was gonna say, the other, I was gonna get it to item 5.
Later, okay, good enough. Let's then move on to business and property owner outreach.
I don't know what my partner in crime is.
I know, I
I-
had
I-
to stop.
I was really counting on her to provide the update because she was going to make a whole bunch of phone calls, so haven't been updated on that. I reached out to a couple people, have not heard back yet. So, yeah, I don't really have much of an update.
Okay,
I'm wondering though, here's what I've been pondering. I feel like from a very base level, how has the town informed people that this ad hoc committee even exists?
okay, so let's take that up even another 5,000 feet for a second.
Okay,
Jennifer, thanks very much for you being here. You weren't here last time and we kind of went around without really coming to any conclusion. I think where we are is we really want to set up a good communication system with the business owners and the property owners. You being the communications expert here. And so, one of the things Tracy and Tina will be doing as they go and talk to people is also making sure that they're updating their, how they would like to receive the information, hopefully email or whatever it would be. But anyway, being able to get that. But then we also have to think about what it is we want to communicate and how frequently we want to be able to communicate with them. So that kind of sets the context
Yeah.
for your question.
Mhm.
And I think some people know about it, but probably most people aren't paying that close attention to it.
right,
So,
that was kind of my thing, cause I don't live in Saybrook, but even where I live, I feel like sometimes I just don't, remember we used to get like a newspaper and it would have things in it from the town, but one of the things is this time around, the last time I was visiting, I just dropped in on people. And so this time I found myself leaving messages.
Hmm.
And so as I'm trying to leave messages, and I'm really formulating like, want to make sure that the committee, is happening. And we really want to make sure that we have not both for the property owners and the tenants, good contact info, particularly name, email, and physical address, right? Because for some of these property owners, they could be in Florida.
right,
And so, and then I'm trying to think of like, it's gonna sound silly, but like, I feel like I need to tell them why they need to pay attention. So as I'm leaving messages, I'm saying things like, we're talking about, lots of different things, and, the street and how it operates. And, I said it much more eloquently than that, I think, but, basically like, we'll be talking about things like traffic flow and, streetscape and, safety. So there really are things that you want to be aware of. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe I think personal outreach is really good, and I think that Tina and I need to continue to do that. But I also think we really need a little help with just letting people know we exist.
So, we could send a letter.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know.
the best way. to
Oh,
reach
like a Harvard
everybody.
News article. I mean, they don't necessarily have to print it, but I mean, that gets pretty widespread.
Well, I wasn't sure, like, if the town, I personally, I think a physical letter would be a good thing. But also, like, I don't know, does this town sort of function on on like a Facebook kind of group way, or, I mean, I don't like to even look at from where I live, I don't even like to look at the town Facebook page, because, you know, you get people on there who say really crass things and nasty things, and, you know. But I'm just trying to think of like, how do people know what's happening in town other than what's happening at the Cape?
Yeah, the town, the first selectman has like a month, I think it's monthly video where he talks about what's going on, maybe it's quarterly, but you know, hey, here's what's happening and here's the facts, that it would be good to weave it in there maybe.
And how does that go out?
If
Or
people
does
are
it go
signed up, they subscribe to it through the town website. A lot of people get it, but not everybody does.
See, I'm thinking more of like a,
Yeah, but I like the letter idea too. I mean, I think the messaging should go out parallel paths.
I was gonna say, I'm sorry, I was gonna say, this is actually the perfect way to introduce yourself and introduce your team, is by getting that letter out and saying, here we are. This is not business as usual. This is the committee. This is what we're doing. One of the two of us will be coming to visit you to talk about what we're doing and get your, get your feedback.
Yeah.
To me, it's a perfect way to open the door.
Yeah, I was sort of like Chris is saying, I think I was sort of, or at least my thought is that maybe we're right now, I think each of the groups we're doing like our background, we're sort of like developing our foundation, and that's why I think we haven't done like broader, more community outreach. And so I think maybe like right now you're just going, at least in my mind, maybe I'm totally wrong, you're maybe just going to property owners and saying, like, because you're in the area, like here we're letting you know, like, we exist. I mean, I'm sure there's a better way to message this, but like, you know, we're letting you know we exist, we're introducing ourselves, and we're going to be reaching out moving forward to like about our meetings and communicate and da da da. I just think it's important for us I was sort of thinking that us as a committee, we're sort of getting our feet on the ground right now and building some foundations so that when we have like, you know, sort of broader public discussions, we have something kind of to talk about.
yeah, and I think it's, that's basically what I've been saying as I dropped in on people, but it's, you know, it's one thing when you're dropping in, and it's another thing where you're like trying to make contact and you're leaving a message. So I really feel like, and I'm happy to draft it, but I really want someone to look at what I draft if I'm gonna have some part of this letter. And I also want to invite people to stop by and see me, because,
Yeah.
you know, I have a business to run. Like, my blood pressure today is seriously like, I don't know if I can very quickly just say that between the tariffs and UPS, like, it's all going to chaos. So like, sometimes you're going out to get a cup of coffee and you could swing in, and I would so welcome that. I really like it when people visit from the neighborhood. Like the hairdresser's husband visited me one day. No, and I'm not saying maybe no one will do that, but I think it opens a door.
So let me try, maybe what we ought to do, Jennifer, is maybe we ought to draft a letter that's actually coming from Carl and me to the property owners and business owners or whatever, that talks about creation of this, you know, subgroup, you know, what we're doing, creation of this subgroup, introduction of Tracy and Tina, and giving their contact information and saying they will be in contact with you, but if you want to get to them first, here's a way to be able to get to them. Does that make sense to you? I mean, I think having the imprimatur of the first selectman would be a good way to go.
I think I would go one step further and link it to the previous process,
Mhm.
because everyone was involved in that.
Mhm.
And, you know, at that time, we did talk about perhaps forming, a group.
You mean like Camoin thing? Is that what I mean by the
Right.
previous?
Yeah,
one?
yeah, and so that they see, because, you know, over and over again, our messaging then was, this is to make a living document, not something that's gonna sit on the shelf, and, you know, everything takes a long time, and people might have even forgotten about that and think, oh yeah, it was just another thing. Well, now they know this is the continuation of that process. You know, it hasn't gone on the shelf collecting dust already. This is part of it.
Yeah,
I would
excellent point.
add that in.
Yep. Yeah. I'll take a shot at drafting it. Share it around, people can add to it, and then, we'll have, Jennifer clean it up for all the right stuff, and then, we can get it up. I think it's a good idea.
I am interested in the idea of a shared document though, with any communication information that you guys collect, because. I mean, other than what we've gathered in the previous round, and stuff changes all the time, which I did try and update for you guys as best I could, but, I mean, things are always changing, and.
I'm just writing, you weren't here last month, but as I meet with people, I'm literally just writing on
Okay.
any other info I can get.
Okay, good.
And figured you're the first person to share it with, so.
Cause the kind of information that we get, like for the taxes and stuff like that, is not always the best way to communicate.
Right.
So.
Right.
Not in the way we want to.
Okay. All right. So we will impress upon Tina the need to come here so she can tell us what she's been doing, and then we will, plan to get back together, and hopefully by then we'll have a letter drafted and at least, mostly agreed to by the time we get together in a couple weeks. Anything else?
I just saw Tina sent an email like 15 minutes ago that she couldn't make it at the last minute.
Oh, okay.
FYI.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, streetscapes, I can tell you that although much thought has gone into this, not a lot of action. Is that a fair statement, Casey? And, however, we have now, set up a meeting with the folks at Jacobson for next Tuesday, where we plan to go over the information that they have already provided, as well as, talk them through about some of the, they seem to have been involved in various different projects related to, Mariners Way. So just being able to tap into everything that they've done vis-a-vis the street. And, as Casey pointed out at the last meeting, there's some streetscape in some of the previous studies that's not really attributable. So the question is, where did those pictures come from? And how did we get those? So, that may be something that Jacobson's done, or if they haven't, they may know where it's come from. So we will have more to talk about at that point. I look to my partner. Anything else that you'd like to add? Okay. Very good. On to comments from ad hoc committee members. I believe you have a comment, sir.
Yes, so I'd like to share my screen. So I'm going to attempt this.
It's very fancy.
All the screens are so.
Okay, I sent an email out to the team, and I don't know if you got a chance to look at this.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's, so I'll just paraphrase it. So this is in Georgia. It's 22, Zoom quit unexpectedly. Just gonna X that out. Yeah, it's a 22-mile loop that connected a lot of neighborhoods that were having issues. And what it turned out to be was but I keep getting this message, but it doesn't show up there. Shoot. Okay, let me try again. Yeah, it turned out to be a catalyst that just took off. All kinds of businesses, all kinds of, public interaction, affordable housing, regular housing. And, the kind of one of the spins of the article was it led to gentrification of some neighborhoods, which isn't good, but, I guess I'm kind of looking more at the positive part. So if you haven't looked at this article, it's very, very good. And it's in effect, a very wide walking bike path that connects all these neighborhoods, and there's lots of cool pictures, and it just keeps going. So anyways, so what I wanted to show was,
Can I make one point,
Yes.
which I think is kind of an important point relative to it, is that it is, I remember correctly, this was an abandoned rail bed.
yes,
And
yes,
so kind of one owner that allowed for all of this to happen, which.
yeah, it made it a little easier, and
Yeah.
even with that, it was very expensive,
Yeah.
yeah. So, having said that, looking at, I'm changing what I'm trying to show here.
Zoom may be in a battle.
Yeah, let me, new share, hold on, right here. Okay, here's Mariner's Way, and this line that I have imposed in here. This is all about visioning and
Yeah.
just some ideas to get things going here. So this line potentially could be one of these trails. As shown, that's about a mile. This lot right here at the beginning of the trailhead, I'll say, it's right behind the John Deere
Mhm.
place. That's 3 acres, 3.3 acres, and I used Google Gemini AI. How many parking spots could I put in there? 270 to 435.
Oof.
This building underneath the line is kind of like if you go down Rome Tree, and I was there today, this is all the lay down area now
Yeah,
for the Amtrak. But this building here is old and
It's, yeah.
So
I
that's
think
not,
they're
that's
using
not,
it, but it needs
that's
to be
not the
bulldozed.
that's not the renovated building, the renovated.
No.
one is the one in front.
Yeah, this is the renovated building.
Yeah.
There may be somebody in there, but long-term, it should be bulldozed.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's more, there's like, these 3 lots, this, and this are 6 acres, which could hold 540 to 960 cars. So, just kind of conceptualizing, you could have centralized parking. You could have this walkway, bike path to the river. If you drive, like if you go down Rome Tree and you take this road, it's kind of like a construction road. It looks like, they kind of have Amtrak in there, and they've got roads, I think, going all the way down.
Yep.
I'm not sure how far it goes down, because I know there's wetlands down here, but in any event, if you had, pending zoning changes, instead of each business having a minimum of X amount of acres, their own parking, their own restrooms and all that, you could have joint, maybe like joint sanitation facilities, public parking. I think everybody's been to Old Mystic Village.
Mhm.
It's the little shops,
Yep.
they're very small. And I don't think they have bathroom facilities, and, they may even, some of them may even close up for winter, but if you had allowed small shops to set up along the side here, it could possibly be this would be the Mariner's Way. This would be Mariner's
There
Way.
you go.
And, I said it's a mile long, but you could start it out at a half mile. And I mean, obviously, you need to get developers on board, but if we started at, say, a half mile or something near that, and allowed these smaller business lots, or maybe a developer had owned it all and he was allowed to cut it up, it could be a very interactive, I guess the word is, I'm looking for like a catalyst project.
Mhm.
So you started out small, and then you just kind of let it build, and if you, the saying is if you build it and they will come. I don't know if that's the case, I wanted to show something else here, what else did I wanna show,
We were walking the Niantic Boardwalk last night again, and it's so interesting to me because even though the boardwalk isn't connected really to businesses per se, other than like the ice cream shop that's right in front of where you park. People are walking up and down the boardwalk with coffees and pastries from Sift in their hand. They're getting off the boardwalk and going for ice cream. Like it's a very much most people just don't, I think, go to the boardwalk, walk and go home, is what I guess I'm trying to say.
right, right. I mean, it would, I would envision it would start out as simple as, okay, somebody's serving water and lemonade, and maybe ice cream or something, and then it's like, oh, there's a lot of bikes here, you can put a bike shop on it. Right near the parking lot, maybe you could have more of an anchor, small grocery store or something, I don't know, just something a little bigger by the parking lot. I mean, there's a lot of ways to go. This is, I pointed out in the email, there was another link to all these projects across the US, and you could click on one. Look at how cool this is, just next to the walking path. I mean, it's something simple, but it's just, architecturally, you can make it interesting, and you could have a bike shop out there, you could have roller skating, roller blades, and if it went eventually, I don't know if it can go all the way to the river. I think it could go to water. I didn't drive all the way down because it looked like it was a construction area. They were kind of giving me the hairy eyeball.
I think you should talk to, Bob Murphy, the chair of the Harbor Management Commission.
Good.
Because they've been working, with the railroad.
With Amtrak?
Yes,
Okay.
since they started planning the project. And
Okay.
they have real ideas about how we might be able to put some kind of path along the river.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
So, and they've been down there and they've been talking about it, so maybe your ideas combined with their ideas can help. They spent a lot of time too, trying to figure out where the access points would be and could we piggyback on any of the infrastructure and the work that the railroad is already doing down there once they vacate? So they've been also really advocating since the beginning of the project for the railroad to give a public access area. And they've gotten a little bit of pushback, but they haven't
Okay.
given up yet, so.
Yeah, that's a great point. My neighbor is on harbor management,
Okay.
Rob Silton.
Oh,
So,
okay, yeah.
yes, I'll reach out to Rob.
Yeah.
But yeah, going out there today, I mean, there's just construction everywhere, but when that's done, it's the perfect time for this team to have plans on the shelf to move in. And what the other thing this does is, it leaves these businesses alone on, Boston Post Road, so it doesn't disturb that. This is all kind of like behind that.
Hmm.
And then if it takes off, I would imagine the businesses closer to the road, they may take different shapes, or somebody may say, hey, it's more valuable now, I wanna sell it, and then you could spawn off of this, spokes with hubs,
Do either of you, particularly with your role with harbor management, know, just like with the state on the roadway, they have the road and then they've got a certain amount of right of way to either side. Do you know whether Amtrak has a certain amount of right of way? I mean, because you could possibly shift that right up to, fairly close to the track, and it's all in their right of way, and so then that would be, a potential.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Niantic,
It's right
it's
there.
right there.
With a high fence.
Very high fence, yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, so I just wanted to, throw this out there and encourage you to look at that article. We did talk earlier about doing like a group visit out there.
Yeah.
I was out there today, and there's a lot of land out there in the back and,
Yeah.
it's hilly, it's all gravel and sand and roads, but. You know, if there's a master plan and, you know, and you just, it comes down to money
Yeah,
and
begin to work on
financing.
What are the gray areas in I know the buildings are the brown. But
So
like
that's a
that,
good question, so let me see if
it.
I
That may be
can.
parking. Oh, except that, oh,
I was just wondering that really big gray area right in the middle of the line there.
well, it could be a wetland area.
Yeah, because
What are your filters on that map?
There's none, but I thought I had the town GIS up, so, let me see if I can get it.
I drove down that Rome Tree and then I drove down Glade View to try to get a sense of where that was on the other side, but then I hit the sign, no trespassing, so I didn't trespass. Just thought I'd say that since I'm on camera.
It looks to me like it's impervious surface and maybe that one oddly shaped, like Bruce said, but maybe that one oddly shaped one is like parking that got partially torn up or some sort of other impervious.
Oh, impervious surface.
Okay, so
Oh,
I just have to,
You have somebody who wants to talk.
Mm.
Right.
JT, you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, just so you know, that's so if you go into his map right there, scroll over to where that gray spot you're talking about.
yeah, let me just get my bearings here where I'm going.
Zoom in a little bit, right about there. Oh. Come back, or just hit the gray spot. So if you click that, see on the left, so that's B&L construction. So that entire area there is like where there's sand and gravel, and then they bring wood chips, and it's like a big yard for construction. It's a massive material moving. Now, if you hit the next lot to the right of your blue square there, along the track area, hit that right there. Down. There you go. So they own all the way to the water, and that's just all privately owned property, and it's while yes, a portion of that is being leased for the bridge construction, that's all just part of their larger business where they do site work and stuff all over the state, road construction, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of dump trucks going in and out of there every single day. So regardless of the bridge construction, it's still that's while portions of that are being used for the bridge construction, I'll bet you 80-90% of that is being used for their day-to-day operations, and they own that whole thing. It's just that it's more than one piece of property, and they own some of the properties off of Rome Tree and off of Route 1. So I don't know that when the bridge construction is done, it'll have any bearing on that property, because that's been integral to their company since the Baldwin Bridge was finished, and that was where they precast all the sections of the Baldwin Bridge, that lot right there.
Hmm. So B&L owns that weirdly shaped thing that Doug was just.
They own that, and they own along the tracks all the way to the road. And so, the other they own that other section there, and that's the
Yeah.
only private property along the railroad tracks, which, obviously we would never get access to the railroad tracks. So it's pretty narrow in there. I remember when I was fire chief, I could barely get the SUV down that road for a brush fire. But they've obviously made construction roads now, which I don't know if they have requirements to turn it back into a narrow an area where you wouldn't want pedestrians to go, because it's very limited access.
Hmm.
They may have to turn that back. That's all private property. So it's not railroad property.
Yeah, very interesting. And so that strip that goes down to the water, B&L uses the outside
Well,
of the.
They own it. Look. So when you hit any lot on that map, and then you look to the left, see where it says ownership, LAB LLC.
Yeah.
So if you hit the gray area, Gren, you'll see LAB LLC.
Right,
It's just
all
a
right.
different lot. And so there's multiple lots in that area. Part of Mulcahy he's in the partnership with the gentleman who owns a lot of that construction there. So some of those lots off of, not Mulcahy, Brome Tree is all private property. I wonder if the road is even public. I think the road itself is probably private owned. I'd be shocked if it's town owned.
Yeah, yeah, it's not identified as private. I mean, I drove down it today.
Yeah. Nobody shot at you. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
but
good.
just so you know, so that's all, and that's regularly used for construction, has been for 20 years. I don't know that there's a bearing of the Amtrak and bridge construction to that, other than that they're leasing portions of it to be used during the bridge, but that's privately leased to them, and then it would, then the lease would end and it would still continue for construction.
And I know there's another entrance to the B and L operation by Gladeview. If you go into Gladeview, instead of turning left into the place, you just go straight through the stop sign and the trucks are coming in and out of there, so.
Okay, all right.
and that's
Well, I
right
think this
here.
all goes back to why we need a tour, so. Maybe Jennifer, you and I can work with Chris in getting a tour organized. JT, thanks a lot for your help. Doug, other things you want to show?
No, that's it. Just wanted to.
Yeah.
Like your, thing that you included that had the visions for all those other places, because it's so cool to see how each area, adapted something really unique, based on their needs and stuff like that.
Yeah, people love, if you get the right catalyst, people will pounce on it.
Right.
I don't know if it's like you need something for little kids, that's always a big attraction, but it's something for adults also, but. Just biking and skateboarding and walking and the water access is big, I think, and then that leads obviously right down to the water area there, the ferry point.
Yeah, and then whatever that.
Yeah,
whatever
and that,
development's gonna be.
the potential there, I think, is unlimited. It's just so kind of paralyzed right now.
Yeah,
But that's all I have.
all right.
Thank you.
Great, no, from a catalyst standpoint, it certainly got a lot of thinking going, so I think that's great. Are there other committee members that have comments you'd like to make? Jason, you're all set? Chris, you all set?
Yep.
All right, well then we will gather in 2 weeks. Hopefully we'll have some more information relative to the streetscape stuff, and I guess we'll find out a little more about the map and see what that would look like, and find out a little more about what's happening with property owners. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second,
All in favor, please say aye.
Alright,
aye.
okay, so
Thank
the
you very much.
23rd at 5:30.
23rd at 5:30, and I think we're in the second story, upstairs.
Okay, cool.
Perfect. All right.
Thank you, everyone.